Today, we're going to talk about a term that went from a single tweet to a global tech phenomenon in, less than a year? We're talking about vibe coding.
So where did this all come from? It all started with this one line from AI pioneer Karpathy. And he wasn't being philosophical here. He was describing a completely new, kind of wild way to build software. You're literally just talking to an AI, and it's doing all the heavy lifting for you.
I know, it sounds like magic, right? But it describes a very real and dramatic shift in how we create things. The idea is, instead of painstakingly writing every single line of code, you just tell the AI what you want. It's almost like having a genie that grants your software wishes.
Okay, so how did this one idea catch on so incredibly fast? The timeline of how this whole thing went down is pretty mind-blowing. Let's take a look.
So this really gets to the core of it. For decades, coding has been all about mastering the how. You know, the syntax, the logic, all the nitty-gritty details. Vibe coding completely flips that on its head. It's all about mastering the what, your vision, your intent, your vibe. And this is a huge deal because it means the bottleneck is no longer how well you can speak the computer's language, but how clearly you can articulate a great idea.
And I mean, it spread like wildfire. Karpathy's tweet just blew up. Then, in what felt like a blink of an eye, it went from being internet slang to actually being added to the dictionary. A few months after that, it was crowned the word of the year. And by early 2026, it wasn't a meme anymore. It was just how most developers in the US were working, every single day.
So that's the origin story. But what does this actually look like day to day? How does somebody sit down and actually use vibe coding to, say, build an app? The best way to think about it is that the developer becomes more like a film director. They're not writing every line of the script or setting up every single light. They're describing the scene, the emotion, the action they want to see. The AI is like the entire film crew, handling all the technical details. The developer's job is to focus on the big picture, that creative vision, and just steer the project in the right direction.
It's really just a continuous conversation with the AI. You tell it what you want, it generates the code, and then you test it. You don't even have to read the code, you just see if it works. And if it's not quite right, you give the AI feedback, again, in just plain English. Things like, make that button blue, or can you speed up this animation? And it tries again. You just keep going in this rapid feedback loop until it's perfect.
So as soon as vibe coding blew up, the debate started. Was this just some reckless shortcut, a fun new toy for side projects, or was this a serious professional tool that was about to change absolutely everything?
And yeah, there is a huge difference between the meme and the actual method. The meme is all about blind trust, I don't read the code, accept all changes, just see if it runs. But in the real world, the way professionals are using it is a much more disciplined method that requires careful oversight and a really deep understanding of the bigger picture.
So one side of the argument is that this is a complete game changer. The speed is so insane that it's just making old ways of working obsolete. And the fear, or the promise, depending on how you look at it, is that if you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind by a new generation of developers who grew up with this from day one.
But on the other hand, a lot of experienced developers are saying that expertise is now more important than ever. The AI might get things right 99% of the time, but that last 1% can contain these subtle, show-stopping bugs. And it really takes a true expert, someone with years of experience, to spot those quiet mistakes that an AI and a novice developer would totally miss.
But look, no matter which side of the debate you're on, one thing is crystal clear. This is having a massive impact on the tech industry right now. And the numbers, they don't lie.
That's right, 92%. By early 2026, the vast majority of developers in the US were already using these AI coding tools every single day. This isn't some fringe technology for a few early believers anymore. This is the new normal. This is how software is being built.
And it's making a huge difference. Almost 3/4 of those developers say that these tools have significantly boosted their productivity. I mean, just think about what that means. Entire projects that used to take months of painstaking work are now being wrapped up in a matter of days. That is a revolutionary leap forward.
And of course, where there's that much productivity, there's money. The market for these AI coding platforms has already exploded to nearly $5 billion, and it's on track to almost triple in just the next couple of years. This isn't just a trend, it's a massive and very rapidly growing new sector of the economy.
So what this all means is that the skills that define a top-tier developer are fundamentally changing.
It's becoming less about mastering the tiny details of a specific programming language and more about being an architect, the ability to design and manage complex systems, to think about that big picture of how everything fits together. That's what separates the good from the great in the age of AI.
So what's next? Now that the initial hype is kind of dying down and these tools are just becoming part of the everyday workflow, where do we go from here?
Well, the industry is growing up. We're moving beyond the, wow, this is magic phase, and into a much more disciplined approach. People are starting to talk about vibe engineering, which is all about treating AI not as some magic box, but as an incredibly powerful tool in a larger, well-designed professional engineering process.
And you can really see that shift from hype to reality happening. Vibe coding isn't just a buzzword on social media anymore. Major universities and research labs are now formally studying it, trying to scientifically understand this new collaborative way of working between humans and AI. It's officially gone from internet meme to actual science.
So, what's the big takeaway here? By making it so much easier to create things, vibe coding is forcing all of us to rethink what it even means to be a builder in the digital world. I mean, when almost anyone can turn an idea into an app just by describing it, the game fundamentally changes. And perhaps the most valuable skill we have left is just knowing what to build next.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.